Welcome to That Moto Show with Dirt Bike TV's Jay Clark and producer Donnie Bales.
Episode 12. Okay, here we are, back for another one. We have no guests today, so we're just going to be talking tech questions on our tech podcast. That's a good idea, right, Donnie?
Yeah, I think so.
So behind you, we have a cool bike.
Yeah.
Our AT82 bike, we call it. And this bike, it's got a few rides on it now, but this is a bike that's right now featured in the new issue of Dirt Bike magazine, and it's really cool. It obviously has a whole Dunlop theme, and brand new 350 XCF I picked up from Langston's not that long ago. We got it all set up, got all black plastic, did it all. KTM Power Parts has a bunch of the pieces as well as MX Plastics. And
you guys really have the fan deal down on the radio, right? You got that thing really set now, like how to install those.
Oh, on which deals?
The fan on the radiator.
Oh yeah, yes, yeah. They're really nice to be able to set those. The Trail Tech fans are really cool on there, so we have that on there, and then got the twisted ECU from them, and the thing just runs amazing. I'm really excited about that bike. I am playing with the 300 right now, so I'm going to be going back and forth with the 300, 350 this summer, and I think in the mountain trails, I think they're both going to be kind of equally as fun. So we'll kind of see how it goes.
Yeah, sounds fun.
Oh, here's the issue of Dirt Bike magazine. We got the AT82 bike there. Got some great companies involved. We got the Recluse Torque Drive. Got their Slave on there as well, and FMF. IMS makes a cool tank.
We have 3 of those bikes in the garage.
Yes, right now we do.
No, this one, that one, and the one on my computer.
There we go.
Triplets.
So we got a bunch of the AT82 bike. That new tire's been really good. Really happy with that. A lot of people even like the front for motocross. So motocross, it's good. It's a good all-around tire. Mainly meant to be an off-road trail tire, but really good tire. So.
Are those guys racing those in off-road too? The AT82?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes. The guys are switching, all getting onto those. Some guys are running 81s and 33, 34s a while back. Now pretty much everybody's getting on these, and it's the rear is you can go. It's bi-directional. You can switch it either way, and so most of the guys are running it in kind of the scoopy way. So it's been real good so far. Yeah, tons of good feedback. So
yeah, that's really cool.
Dunlop's been awesome on keeping up with new products that are nice. And then that 350 XCF is just our favorite bike. And the 24 version does come with spring forks. And speaking of forks, I did learn this week that a bunch of the bikes, there's some confusion about what comes with what. We think the gas is the same and the Husky's the same, but they're really not. You know, they come with brake tech components, right, for the clutch and brakes. But then the forks on the gas version, even though it's the new generation frame and bike and everything, it comes with the older forks, the open cartridge forks.
What's the price difference?
It's somewhat substantial, but I don't know that it's not as much as it would cost to fix the forks. So to switch forks around. So I think you got to weigh that out. If you're going to go buy a gas, you need to go double check that you're getting what you think you're getting, So I had a guy bring it up this last week. He brought it up and I was like, I can't believe it. And so I made a little cheat sheet on my phone with what forks are what on what bikes.
Oh, that's good, though.
So if you're buying a KTM branded bike, you need to pay attention to what you're going to get. You think a Husky's the same, but again, they don't have the Brembo components on some of the Huskies. But some of the motocross versions do. But you get into the off-road to the TE and to the some of those lines of bikes, then they back off the componentry.
Are they making a Barsha edition for gas?
Yeah, they made a factory edition.
They did, right?
Yeah.
I only pay attention to orange, so I don't know any other color in a situation.
All right, so I think we got no Spencer.
Yeah, bummed out, no Spencer. I like having him here.
Yeah, so he is back in Utah and getting on with life. Spencer, do you want to say hi?
Hello.
Okay, that's Spencer. He's on my phone. He's listening to the show. He's going to listen. We haven't got the full technology to have him join us fully, but the main reason he's listening, he's actually working at home on editing some videos, and he's going to be just paying attention to the show.
He's supervising from afar
because he's the one that actually makes sure that Donnie has all the photos. If you're listening to the podcast, know that we paste in photos of all the things we talk about. We try to, so you guys can see a visual with it. So
there's some 12, high production value there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's really nice. So if you're just listening, you sometimes check out the YouTube version. You might like that. I know it's harder to watch that when you're driving. It's nice just to listen to the podcast.
Yeah, it's probably you should probably just listen while you're driving.
Right, exactly. So episode 12. 12 is a kind of a cool number. I thought of Vuleman.
Matasevich.
He was 12. I remember that.
That's right. Yeah, and
Extreme Gear on.
Yeah, and then I think Damon Huffman ran it for a year or two.
Yeah.
And then
Terry Bradshaw.
Terry Bradshaw.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There you go.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. Okay. Yeah.
All right.
I think we're in the wrong sport.
All right, so we got lots of number 12s.
Yeah.
All right, so episode number 12. So let's get on with some questions. Oh, no, we have some show and tell first.
Oh, I got some show and tell.
Donnie has some cool memorabilia from in the early 90s, mid to mid 90s, right?
Yeah, so I started shooting photos for Dirt Rider in the early 90s, and I had a couple of this pass right here. I'm gonna talk about this pass, but we're not gonna say what it's from. But I want somebody to
guess it?
to guess what this pass is from, why it's significant. This is a press pass, and I also have a track pass from this day. So I was shooting photos in the press box.
As soon as you told me what race it was, I kind of
You said it instantly.
Yeah.
So this is January 23rd, 1993. Okay, and so I want somebody to say what that's. It's probably not going to be that tough, but I won $5 on this race, by the way.
You had a bet with somebody?
Chris Johnham.
Nice.
So yeah, and then I had some other ones from LA Coliseum, press passes, and those were cool. I like those.
They still look like new. And then you got
But
these bibs.
These are more important to me.
Glen Helen, yeah.
This is a Glen Helen photo bib.
FMF was sponsoring the race. I
FMF
like
was
that.
sponsoring it, and there's still dirt on it. It's kind of hard to see, but
Yeah.
there's still dirt on it. And then this was Washougal of 2000 as well, a photo bib.
Okay.
And then a
So-
Glen Helen 2001 photo bib.
So those listening to this, this is great audio, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, they look cool. I'm not much for nostalgia. I kind of get rid of stuff, but it's cool that you keep this. And you don't keep a lot of things, though.
It was an accident.
Okay.
So I was going through a shed, and I realized there was a crate, and I basically uncrated all this stuff. So to be honest, because normally I probably only have a couple of years that I found.
Yeah.
Everything else I threw out.
Right.
Because I'm like, oh, it's just another pass.
Right,
you know
right.
what I mean? But obviously these, I felt like keeping them for some reason.
Yeah.
And now I'm glad that I
had them for the show.
accidentally kept them.
Now you can throw them away.
Now I'm going to throw them away.
All right.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's cool. It's riveting. It's pretty awesome. Show and tell. I don't keep hardly anything. I do keep parts, and sometimes too long. And you're better about getting rid of parts, so that's good.
Yeah, well, I give you the parts
Right.
and then I just know that you would keep the parts that I'm going to get rid of.
You're right. Well, I'll try to get rid of them if we can use them for somebody.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's move on. What's our first? You have our questions? You print them things off.
We can get right into
Spencer
questions
was
right
a big crutch for you on this, so he really carried his weight on the question.
Yeah,
reading.
he was my question guy.
Yeah.
And then, in between, he would point at which ones I need to read. But now
He would
I
give you the shorter, easier ones.
Yeah, the easy ones.
All right, here we go. Let's get going. What do we
Okay,
got?
Marcus W. If I have an oil filter that I didn't use in a while and it's lost its tackiness, do I need to clean it again and put new oil, or can I just redunk it?
Okay, so when he said he has a filter, we're assuming that he oiled it and then he left it, and so
He oiled it, yeah.
He oiled it. So my guess is what we do is put them in a Ziploc bag, and then they stay there. And if anything runs off, it's in the bag, and you kind of can just squeeze that bag and squeeze it. And that's what MX Filter Service does too. We use them a lot, and you can just squeeze the bag and put it back on. If it's lost a bunch, I would drip a little bit on there into your bag and mush it on there and redo a little bit. You don't need to re-clean it though. So you're fine just to add a little bit of oil to it, and get it back on there. So
Well, of course, it depends on the length of time because
Well,
the oils the filters will deteriorate.
right.
after a while.
We're not talking years, but
Okay.
we're guessing a few months,
Okay.
and I think you're fine.
All right, Angelo T. Where to get your tool for setting sag? You drill some minute hole. I guess he's saying some small hole.
Yeah.
And hook the device, please, when you have time. Thank you. You are a badass. Thank you.
Oh yes, I get told that quite often.
I was reading verbatim there.
Right.
so-
That's usually from the law enforcement that's pulled us over, right? All right. So this is the Slacker tool. This is the brand new one. Just got this. This is version 5. This tool is what he's talking about. You can get it on our Rocky Mountain link right from there. It's really nice for checking sag. Now, if you only have one bike and you're not going to be checking sag very often, okay, so it's probably not critical. But if you are going to be checking sag on multiple bikes quite often, it's nice to have. And you can actually just put this on the rear fender and hook onto it if you don't want to drill your fender. We don't mind drilling the fender because we do switch from bike to bike. So for us, I think it's not a big deal. People freak out about drilling the hole in the fender.
Yeah, I don't know why.
What's your opinion on to drill or not drill.
Yeah, I would drill. Whatever's the fastest, easiest to get going is
Right.
what I would do.
Okay. So, and they have these little stickers right here, and you can put these on your fender.
We put one of those stickers on one of my bikes, and
it
then
still
we
there?
drilled a hole on another one. Yeah.
Yeah, so if I'm at the track, sometimes I don't have a drill bit, so I'll just use those. So I keep those in there for when we're at the track and forget to have a hole in there. So the hole, and then this new version is actually Bluetooth.
Oh.
Because it does some math for you and stuff. It's mainly for mountain bike guys to get a percentage of their sag. Because on mountain bikes, they're figuring out their sag by a percentage of whatever.
Have you seen that video of Kiefer having his wife help him set the sag?
I don't remember.
Oh my gosh. He's not too pleased with her.
Are they yelling at each other?
Well, he's yelling at her, I think, but it's pretty funny.
So
this eliminates all that.
Oh, so this one's Bluetooth because you don't have to have the cord for this.
Oh, on your handlebars.
Yeah. So you can run this up. I usually just do make the wife or somebody in the shop just read me what it is, so I don't have to bother hooking it up. But you can check sag by yourself, and so it is a nice tool.
How long has that thing been around?
I guess a good 10 years, I bet.
10 years, yeah.
I bet somewhere in that range. So it's
Yeah,
a pretty cool tool. They stand behind it, so it's been pretty good. I like them. But if it's not, it's a luxury item. You can use a scale or a tape measure. You're fine.
So what's the retail on that?
I don't know.
Okay, me
right.
neither. I wouldn't know it either.
So yeah,
Spencer would know, and he'll text me.
Let's see if so Spencer can let us know. All right, what's our next question there, Donnie?
Frederico A. Dear Jay, my dad and I are big fans of yours. I'm 12 years old, and we've been watching your tip videos, and you were talking about how you're going to get a new exhaust and performance modifications that you should get a tune first. But when I researched tunes, I realized that they're really expensive, so I was wondering if you could help me decide if I really need a tune or have any advice. The bike I have is a CRF 125 FB, and the exhaust will be the BBR D3. I really enjoy your videos. Thanks, and thank you very much.
Okay, so it's funny. Did I just buy this bike from you?
Yes.
Yeah. So same bike. And now this is a fuel-injected play bike. This is a kid's bike that adults like myself would ride, or Spencer's wife rode one. We call it her race bike now because she learned to ride her in the backyard.
Basically, Riley learned to ride on that bike too.
Yeah, really fun little bike. And it's so easy to ride. Just really a great bike. My opinion on these play bikes is don't mess with them. Just leave them stock. I mean, we changed the levers if you're going to do something like that. But any of the play bike sizes, this 50, 70, if you put big bars on and all that kind of stuff in exhaust, they just get more obnoxious and don't really help the bike. So I'm a big advocate on these play bikes. Just keep them stock. You could mess with the suspension if you want to do anything, but I wouldn't mess with the engine. It's just going to get loud and obnoxious and not run as good. So you will need an ECU remap to make it work. And unfortunately, I don't know that there's a whole lot of people making ECU maps for these little bikes. So I would just leave it. And guys go, well, I want to get faster. Get as fast as you can on that bike, because I can promise you Carson Brown could hop on that bike and go twice as fast as anybody's going, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
So you can go fast on that bike and learn. And then when you're ready, move up, get a big wheel 85 or a 125.
Well, I think that's the point, is after you're fast on this, if you're still the size, get a big wheel 85.
Right. So play bikes, I like to leave them stock as long as you can. Also, they're going to last longer and they're better to pass on. If you're passing them on to the next generation, or if you're going to sell it, it's much better.
Passing it on to my friend.
Right.
Right,
So
there we go.
yeah, I like, it's gonna be a fun bike for us to have around, my wife to ride, and
Yeah.
just people to play with. If we're
Now
gonna
you're
have,
making me jealous. I should have kept it.
right, you don't have any room.
I don't have any room.
You got too
good
many
point.
bikes. So anyway, and we just got a message from Spencer that that tool is 174, but unfortunately it doesn't look like it's on Rocky Mountain right now. So we'll have to check back to see when it's on there again, or you can just go direct. So, all right.
Okay,
Next.
Andrew D. Jay, what brand of timing chain do you recommend? And then he just says, 2008 CRF 250R doing a kibble white stainless valve conversion.
Okay, so first of all, Pro X makes a good cam chain, so that's a good one, or stock. The stock one's not too expensive. So those two are your best options. And then as far as the conversion to stainless, we're not a fan of it. We like the stock valves are just fine. They last a long time ago. Well, they cup out and wear out. Yeah, if you replace them with the stock ones, you're not going to wear it out, unless you suck dirt. So don't suck dirt. Keep your air filter clean. Don't let dirt in the bike. And the stock valve setups last a long time and work well, and you don't have to run different springs. So we prefer stock.
Why the stainless valve conversion?
Well, guys think because it's stronger, it's going to take longer to wear out. And yes, that's true, but it is heavier. It's not going to be quite as fast and snappy.
It doesn't rev as quick, right?
Not going to rev as quick. But, guys will argue, well, you're not going to feel that. But on a 250F, you need every bit of power you can, right?
Right.
And it's maybe a slight bit less money, but it's not that much of a difference, really.
Yeah, there's that guy in Utah that does the stainless steel up there in Salt Lake.
I don't remember.
Yeah, you know who he is. Anyway. All right. DH, does it damage a two-stroke engine to shut the fuel off and run it till the engine stops?
Okay, so no, but and the caveat to that is if you turn the gas off while you're riding and you have it wide open and you run it out of fuel, that can cause the bike to seize. It doesn't want that. But if you're sitting there letting it idle in front of your garage or whatever, that's totally fine. And it's a good idea to do that. Or after you wash the bike, you blow it off, you run it, turn the gas off, and you can let it idle out, or you rev it up a little bit just in front of your garage. That's totally fine. You're not going to hurt anything.
Have you ever put stable or anything in any of the bikes?
No, because we don't let bikes sit that long, and we also run better fuel than pump gas. So we would add. I'd rather, like in that 125 I got a years, we'd just rather add some av gas.
Yeah.
To let it last longer and wouldn't have that problem.
Right. So just when you're in Corona, you buy 5 gallons or what?
Right.
That's it. All right. Joseph M. Hey, Jay, what's the best place to send a 4-stroke head to get repaired?
Well, the main place right now is Millennium. They do cylinder repairs. They also do head repairs. We talked about them on last show. So they'd be the main one to do that with. You have to be cautious here because heads are expensive, but also it's expensive to get repairs. So you want to really look at that. So sometimes it can be better to find a used one that's in good shape or getting a new one at a deal. Some of the brands are a lot less money, but a 4-stroke head is very costly, so you have to watch out.
And it depends on the repairs too, right? Because you can send it to any of the local engine builder shops that'll fix a lot of stuff.
And they have to put in the right seats, the material for the seats where the valves will touch and cut the right angles and all that. It's all very important. And so Jamie at Twisted, they do those, but they don't necessarily do just repairs for guys. They're doing performance mods. Those kind of shops are doing more performance mods than most of the engine building shops around here. That's what they'd be doing, specializing more in.
For sure. All right. Christopher T. Any tips to make my 2023 KX250 more trail friendly? Anything would be greatly appreciated.
Okay, so the first tip is to buy an XCF.
Right.
Right. That's what Donnie would say. Just buy
100%.
So sell it.
I would even say an EXC.
Right. Okay.
I'm fine with either one of those.
Unfortunately, he has a motocross bike. So this goes across the board. He has a motocross bike and he wants to make it more trail friendly. So unfortunately, we're not huge fans of doing this because it's difficult. And there's a reason that the trail bikes cost a little more, like the XCFs and the FX Yamaha. They come with a kickstand, a big tank, an 18-inch rear wheel. All those are things that are nice to have on a trail bike, right? All those features alone. And then some of the bikes, like the XCF 350, has a wider ratio transmission, has 6 gears. We really like that on the 350. The one behind Donnie there, that gearing is really nice. We did go up 2 teeth on the rear, and that bike with the 6-speed is just amazing. So I'm not a huge fan of converting motocross bikes into trail bikes. And now, at least now that it's electric start, that's better. But when they were kickstart especially, that was terrible.
But I think that a lot of the guys, my guess, that are asking this kind of stuff, this is what we had to do 20 years ago.
Right.
You had to convert them. There was no decent, there were the big XRs, but we didn't want to ride those.
And we didn't think we'd ever ride KTMs, right?
Right.
So times have changed.
But
as far as that bike goes, the other things you could do to help it would be to soften up the suspension, for sure, because it's going to have Moto suspensions be too stiff for the trails. Add a tooth in the rear. It's always going to want additional tooth in the rear to help it pull. The stock muffler is terrible loud on that thing, so that would help to get something that's a bit quieter. That'll also make it a little smoother and easier to pull. So those are some things I would do.
I would also not recommend this guy or anybody else like him to ride a friend's XCF because he's going to really be upset when he does.
We get some of those questions. I think there's one later in the show.
Really?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
That's funny.
So,
okay.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
No. I think I rode yours, and I was on my old XCF, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's another world.
Right. That was awesome.
And that cost me money. All right, Matthew P. Hey, I was wondering what would be the best off-road tire for GNCC style riding. Thanks.
How convenient is this? It's
This
right
is
behind you.
very convenient.
AT82. So that's going to be the best all-around off-road tire out there. Now, there are other tires you can play with, like MX34 on the Dunlop side, but I think for the front and rear, that AT82 is going to be a great option for most of that type of racing because you're on a track and in the trail in the woods. I think it's going to be a good option for you. I think that's what I'd be looking at.
Yeah, there's really, they're so good.
Yeah.
All right. Kenneth B has a problem here.
Uh-oh.
So how come on my dirt bike 4-stroke, like I started in the idles, but it dies and sometimes it idles good, and then I rev up and then it drops down to low idle and then it dies. All my jets and carb is clean really well. Any idea?
Okay. Spencer, Spencer, he can write us and tell us, but I think we have a video. Did I send you the video of this thing going bo-whoop?
Not me.
Bo-whoop?
No.
I think Spencer has it. Spencer, do you have that? He has it. He'll put it. So let's play that video right here.
Okay.
Boo. So anyway, it's the carb. There's an idea with, I got my buddy Brad at Parapros. People get on me. I get any 4-stroke carbureted bike that has this problem. It's the carb. And they go, I've cleaned it 5 times.
Is it the accelerator pump?
It's in there, and it's the circuit coming from the pilot jet, and they can't get it clean. Brad's got little tricks here, and he also knows how to set up the. What's that other little jet called? The leak jet. He knows how to set that, and he wires the little cam. He wires all that. So there's companies like Tokyo Mods who set up carburetors, and guys don't want to pay $200 to get my carb done. You know, they're like, oh, I don't want to spend $200 to get my carb done, but it's worth it. So get your carb set up, and then the big key is don't leave gas in your carburetor in the bowl.
But let's not forget this bike is at least 10 years old.
No, this is like 20 years old. It's like,
I'm just saying, Honda had their fuel-injected bike in 2013.
Right. 09.
Or 29.
No,
09. Yeah, it's 09.
So this is like an 06 or 05 YZ450 or 250, I think it was. And so they basically are 20 years old. Any of these older 4-strokes are going to need a full carb gone through by somebody professionally that knows how to do it.
I mean, they could pull it off and ship it to Brad.
I get a ton of guys doing it, and a lot of them, they want to argue with me and even argue with Brad. Are you sure? Tell me what jetting you're running. I'm telling you, jetting, when you hear that video, let's play that video again. Boo. When you hear this boo, that's not jetting typically. Your jetting have to be way off on the leak jet or whatever, and to get that boo. And now, also there's a squirter. So the other thing you can do to test this bike, you can pull the subframe off the bike
and see it squirt. Yeah,
and you can see it squirting. So you can look with the subframe off, which is a kind of a pain, but take the subframe off, and you can look, or you can pick it up and pull it up.
That's from the accelerator
and
pump.
Then grab the throttle, twist it, and you're going to see it squirt. Now, when Brad sets these up, it squirts across his garage. It'll make it like from here past you right now. Like it'll squirt 20 feet when he has it just right, because he sets it up in his garage and goes shoot, and it goes whoop, and it's perfectly shooting across. So they really dial those carbs in, and that's a key to making them not. And everybody's used to fuel injection. They think they can just grab that throttle and just go boop, and it's fine. It's going to do that if you don't get it set up correctly. So, and then the guy has a 20 or 4-stroke. He doesn't want to put $150, $200. And that's what it's going to end up being, is $150 to $200 range, especially with shipping it back and forth to rebuild a car.
And really, like you said, it's guys that have been dealing with this for years and years and years that know exactly what to do to make those right.
Right. And we're going to do a video with Brad sometime on we're going to lay a carb out and talk about it sometime, but we're probably not going to go over every single tip and trick, or I'd rob all of his tricks, but we're going to at least show you some of the things. We're going to do a carb video in the future.
You just black out the actual trip.
Right.
And
But there's not one single thing, though. It's usually a multiple of all the things he's doing that add up to where it just works perfect.
Have you ever, like when you would put a pipe on those bikes, did you have to rejet those?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
basically anything you did. And Brad, like somebody like Brad and all the top shops always knew, okay, we got to go up to a 48 Pilot, and this, and they'd work good. And we got to where we could adjust the fuel screw, not an air screw, it's a fuel screw on a 4-stroke. We got to where we could adjust that pretty good. We had a really good setting. I learned to where Tom Morgan taught me we'd use the hot start. If we pushed the hot start, when the bike was warm, we pushed the hot start and the bike revved up, we knew it was just jetted right there in the bottom. Because that's how, then it was leaning it out right there and it go, so, and we adjust the fuel screw until it wanted to rev up like that.
I think of the procedures it took to start. Like I had a 426
Right.
and the procedure, and now the procedure is just
Easy.
Easy.
So anyway, and the big key to this too is once you get it dialed in, is you don't leave gas in the carburetor. The gas nowadays goes bad. It can be a week in hot weather. A week could smoke it in that
Easily.
bowl. Yes. So you got to drain the bowl. A lot of them have a screw. You can drain it, or you can let it run. You can lay the bike over on both sides. Sometimes you can do that. Just get the
even you drain it out. I really feel like it can leave some residual
Right.
stuff in there.
so you got to be careful.
You got to be careful.
All right.
All right.
What do you got next?
William T. Hello, sir. I was curious as to what you thought about a new 24 XC 350F and if the upgrades would be worth buying. In my area, I've found a few heavily discounted 23s, and I'm not sure if I should go that route or spend the extra on a 24. Also, what graphic kits from Decal Works did you put on your 23? It turned out awesome. Thanks for the advice.
Okay, so first, let's talk. Yes, I'm awesome, right? Well, at least my graphics are awesome from
Okay.
Decal Works. They're able to make me exactly what I want, just like the bike behind you. So there's nothing off the shelf, but if you email Decal Works, contact them, you can reference the bike, and they will make something based on that bike. So
Hey, you need some Dirt Bike TV graphics.
yeah, and we do have that. Those options are up there. So we have that up there. So it's something you
nice.
can definitely look at doing. So now the next, you already know how I answered this question for this guy, because the difference between 24 and 23 is very small. As far as the way it runs, it's all the same, except it comes with spring forks on the 24. So that's going to save you a good amount of money. So which is going to save you really $1,500 to $2,000. So you have to see if you're going to get that bike for $2,000 less, and I don't think you're going to get that bike for $2,000 less. So that's something to weigh out. I think the spring forks on the 24, these closed cartridge forks that are on the 24 stock are really good. I'm no fork expert, but I can tell you they feel really good. I don't have to go buy some, KYB conversion or WP conversion forks. So it's nice. So I would go to the 24 if you can. If you can afford it and do it. If you can make it happen, great.
Yeah, I think
right.
newer the better anyway.
Good job, Donnie.
Yeah. Do we want to do a product?
Are we through a page yet? Let's
We're
go a little
through
further.
page. You want to do? Let's do one more, and then we'll do.
All right. Good.
Okay.
Are we on our next page?
Yeah, we're on the next
Good
page.
man. We are jamming.
Jamming, man.
It's way faster without Spencer here.
Yeah, I realize he's slowing the whole process down.
Right.
All right. This is a lengthy one. Eli W. Hi, Jay. Hope all is well. Love your content. Like how you always are looking for solutions and work in a clean environment. I didn't know. That's kind of nice. All right. Jay, I'm emailing you because I have a dilemma. I think you're the perfect guy to ask, and hopefully you can shed some light on my way. I have a KTM 2018 SXF. He doesn't say what size, but whatever.
It's a 350.
It is. Okay. I love it, and I've installed a kickstand and an LED light bar on the front above the number plate. How would he do that?
Yeah, you can just bolt it right up.
Is it a battery-powered one?
No, he's going up. That's what we're going to get to. That's the problem.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm starting to get confused here. Above the, just in case. My buddy picked up a 2018 350 XCF, which is equipped with a headlight, a kickstand, oversized tank, basically the enduro stuff. I took it for a ride, and oh my gosh, it was amazing how smooth it was shifting, going into gear, and the suspension over the top smooth all throughout. I didn't feel the rocks. All in all, very smooth. So Jay, you knowing and having a lot of experience, can I make mine ride like that, or is that something that's just the XCF comes with different? Please and thanks for all your content and videos. You got me back into riding.
Awesome. If I really did that, that's impressive. That I saved someone's life.
One, all you needed is one.
Right. And so we've helped him get back into riding. That's awesome. So this goes back to our KX question, right? Basically, it's very similar. He's got an SXF and he wants to trail ride it more. And his buddy got an XCF and he's like the same year, same size bike, and the XCF feels better. A couple things. First thing I told this guy is make sure that you have the same air pressure. The forks are air forks. Make sure you have the same air pressure on both bikes. See what they are. So then drop yours down. I'm guessing the SXF is a higher fork pressure, so check that, drop it down. Check the sag on his bike. I bet it's probably sitting lower. Do that on both bikes. So then see if that helps. But the SXF suspension is a bit stiffer stock than the XCF, right? So that's going to affect that. So that's what I would do first as far as your settings, is just you have to soften it up and see where that XCF's at. So then the next thing, as far as it feeling better, transmission shifting wise and everything, is the 350 XCF does have a wide ratio 6-speed transmission. So I think that could be some of what you're feeling in that ease of riding and feeling better on that. So again, it goes back to, I'm a big advocate, if you only can get one bike, it's an XCF type bike, whether it's an FX, from Yamaha, or in this case, an XCF on the KTM model. So I think that's where he's at.
Well, remember, before I got this bike, I was racing my SXF in Works.
Yeah.
And it was fun, and and everything, but it didn't even compare to the XCF in Works. They were so different, and this bike is so much suited for it. So if he's doing a lot of off-road,
Yeah.
it might just be you need to go to the
Yeah, and I'm sure if you're limited on the budget, you're going to make do. And making do, I would just soften that thing up. And if you do want to do anything, I would mess with an ECU and changing some mapping. You can get the stock ECU map, those types of things. So,
All right, well, now do a product. We only have 7 questions left.
wow. See, what's so much faster with Spencer not here.
Yeah, I don't know why.
All right, so it's just worked out there. But I did kind of stack the questions to where it was smaller questions for you.
That was no smaller question.
Or just that's the only big one.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
So our
what about the
product-
next one?
Our product spotlight is ASV makes these, I call them Y wrenches. Why? Because it looks like a Y. And so it's really a cool thing. They just remade them. They haven't been making these for years with the 3/8 bit right here and the larger size. They've only had the smaller ones. So they just made these again, and they're really cool. And what's nice about this is I have this grip edge is the name of this. This is an Allen, even though it looks like a Torx, right? You see that? Looks like a Torx, right? It's not. It's for Allen bolts.
Yeah, they got a blade on them, basically.
And it's just it gets way more of a biting edge. And we've already had some stripped Allen bolts that I was able to put one in. I posted it the other day on our Instagram, and it works so good. I'm really surprised. So it's something to check out. I'm going to see if I can get a discount code for that. I'm going to work on that because I have been pretty happy with it. So that's my next thing to do, is to see if we can get some type of discount code for our guys, because I think it's a tool that a lot of people will like, is grip edge. And it's called rounding preventive technology, RPT, or something like that. They're trying to prevent you from rounding out Allen or hex bolts, which we aren't very fond of the guy named Allen, right? So we've all had Allen bolts that are jacked up and drilled them out, everything welded on them. So that, for sure, I don't think you're ever going to strip one out with one of these if it's in good shape.
I hate to say something unpopular, but I think the Torx are way better of a bolt.
Yeah. And I wasn't a fan at first.
Neither was I,
Yeah.
but they don't strip out.
They don't strip out. If you get a good bite in there, you're not stripping that thing out, because it's way more of a bite. So the Austrians were smoking the right stuff when they came up with that, and Allen wasn't. He was on something else.
Yeah.
So that's our product spotlight of the day. Is the dog coming?
No, that's the wind blowing.
No, it's just wind. I thought.
She may try to, if she hears us, she might try to come out.
All right. So I think that's it for product spotlight.
Okay. Justin F. Has a 2004 KTM 450 EXC plated. He wanted to install a front and rear turn signal and brake light. I have a headlight and a running tail light, but I'd like to get 100% street legal in California, on California roads. Any help, links, and parts would be greatly appreciated. Thanks again for the content. Big Bear.
Okay, so I let the dog out, so Donnie's happy. Oh, I don't know. We want to show the dog. Oh, my word. All right. So Donnie's had like 3 or 4 of these dogs.
Yeah.
Right? And I joke around that him and his wife are getting the A ticket into heaven just for having and taking care of those dogs right there. That alone is going to guarantee their ticket into heaven. All right, so for our guy here, what I wrote him back was, honestly, it's a 20-year-old 4-stroke, but Moto, they specialize in dual sports and are heavy into KTM Austrian brands, and they'll be able to help him out. So tacomoto.co, I think, is their website. You can go check out their stuff, and they're going to have something for you to help you get whatever street legal stuff you want for your bike. That's where to go.
Yeah. There hasn't really been. I mean, there was somebody else that was doing it for a while too.
Oh yeah, there's been people over the years. Baja Designs did some stuff, but no one
That's right. It was
stuck
Baja
with
Design.
it.
Yeah.
And he's sticking with it. And I can tell you right now, on some models, it probably doesn't make sense, but he's going to really stick with it and have dual sport, street legal parts for a lot of these bikes.
Yeah.
We put a whole wire harness on Jim's 300 two-stroke. We put a whole one on there. So we were able to do that, and pretty awesome.
But it was kind of, it's funny because this is one of those EXCs that were
because back then the EXCs were just an off-road bike.
Just an off-road bike.
But it had all the heavy-duty lighting coil.
Yeah.
All there, And
then they made it. They made that bike 2-3 years ago, where it was an off-road EXC.
Right. Yes.
Deal.
Yes.
Anyway.
So we don't want that. Oh, hey, before I forget, on that last question, I did forget before this, is that guy added that light bar to that bike. That bike does not have enough output to power that light.
Oh, right.
Legitimately. So it's going to power it, and then he's going to what's going to end up happening is he's going to have it on, and he's going to start, it won't have enough oomph to run the fuel pump. That's what goes out first.
Oh, the fuel pump goes.
Yeah, so you're stranded. Yeah, that's what happens. Yeah, because once you start getting low on power, the fuel pump kicks off, and you can ask me how I know, but we know that's the first thing that happens on a fuel injected
So it drains
bike.
the battery down.
Drains the battery down too much.
And then you're really in bad shape because the battery's drained.
Yeah.
And now the fuel, and so you need battery for the fuel pump to even bump start the bike.
Yeah. So if he has a light, I would just not turn it on. Only turn it on if you're going back to the truck. And we have the fans on these bikes, even like that one behind you with the fan on. It's a bit questionable. We don't want to be running that thing like crazy. So if we do get into some tough situations, we need to rest, let it cool down.
Have you had a situation where the fan has killed the battery, or you felt it slowing down?
We got real close. So we got stuck a few years ago. So when it gets to that point, what I do is I put Spencer on the bike because he's gonna not heat it up as bad as I am. He can get out of that situation, and then I'll heat up the bike he was on, and so I'll usually use him to help get us out of that situation.
Oh, right on.
And we try very hard not to get in those situations. So anyway, so that answers that question and the one before or so.
Yeah.
All right, what do we got?
I don't know. My dog keeps bothering me over here.
Oh yeah, you don't act like that.
Yeah. Sit down.
You're all happy.
I know. All right. Victor Q. Hello, I'm a follower of your page, and I've always seen the excellent work you do, and I want to see if you could help me with some information. I have a 2001 Suzuki RM250, which suffered damage to the crankshaft and the cylinder with the sleeve and the piston, but I can't find a reason. He doesn't know why it damaged.
Well.
Okay.
Okay.
There is nowhere to buy a complete crankshaft with the repair kit. It would help me a lot if you knew where I could buy it. Be very grateful.
Okay.
I looked for the Wiseco, but it was not available per 2001.
Okay, so this is, 23, 24-year-old bike. Okay. Now, unfortunately, in some of these bikes, you can't just get it all at once. And if you do get an all-in-one kit, it's sometimes not the best scenario. So for this bike, there are Pro X has a rod kit, so you can actually rebuild the crank. You can get a crank. You can get a piston from Wiseco. You can get gaskets from Wiseco or Cometic, for instance. You can get all the parts you need to rebuild that thing. So, and on the sleeve damage, I'd recommend having it replated from Millennium, which we talked about last show, is get it replated. Don't mess with getting a sleeve. So you can do you can get everything you need for that. You just can't get it in one box, one part number, right? So that's just the only disadvantage. But I would rebuild the crank on these older bikes. A Pro X has a good Japanese quality, made in Japan OEM spec rod. Get that rebuild kit and get someone to rebuild the crank for you, and you'll be in great shape. And with a fresh plated cylinder. Now, everything I just mentioned, getting a crank, a rod, and a crank rebuilt, and getting a cylinder fixed, and then doing all the work yourself, man, you're still,
$3,500?
No, not that bad. If you did the work yourself, I think the cylinder's going to cost you like $400. Yeah, the cylinder's going to cost you like $400, and then by the time you're all done, shipping back and forth. And with the pistons, so I say 600, and then you're at the crank. Say you're at 300,000, and then so 1,000 to 1,200. I bet, depending upon how far you and how many OEM parts you need, and so. But for a bike like that, you fix it up for that. That's pretty good. So
okay, you're doing 5 CRs. And why aren't you doing 6?
Because it's too many.
Too many. Is there a bike like this 01 Suzuki or the CRs or any of it that you're coming across to where if you one part goes bad, basically the bike is no good anymore because you can't find anything. I mean, you'd have to go to eBay.
Most of these 2000s and 90s bikes, you can kind of find everything. You can still, there's still enough of them out there. You can find a bottom end or a transmission on eBay, right? Like you can find stuff that you're going to be able to use. So, and you can find cases, or you can get cases welded. So I don't know that you're going to have too much of that in there. I think you're okay. I think that's going to be the problem. Stators and air boots and things that are hard, you're just going to have to pay more for them than you should.
Yeah.
Really. That's I say. I think most of those bikes are going to be okay.
All right. All right. Ray L., have you ever tried using a fuel additive to increase the octane on pump gas for a KTM 450, 250, etc. on a stock engine, no mods? Thanks.
No, typically we don't like to use those additives. We've had some of those that have actually discolored tanks and stuff. They can kind of weird. So we'll just use, if you want to add an additive, just add more octane. So you can add if you got a local gas station that sells just 100 octane race fuel, you can use that, or some avgas. You can split that and add some of that to your fuel and be just as far ahead. And it's not going to go bad as quick as regular pump gas.
Are there any VP gas stations around here?
There used to be one and I know there's one out in Bullhead
oh no, yeah, there's like 3 on the way to Havasu.
Yeah, so I don't think there's any right here close, but
in Havasu for the boats, there's 100 pump gas all over the place.
Right, you can get 100 at the pumps.
Oh yeah,
leaded, right?
Yeah, like leaded in like mobile and stuff, like normal stuff. All right, Logan H. Hello, Jay. I saw a video on Instagram of you changing a back tire, an AT82 Dunlop. In the video, you mentioned email you for blueprints of the tire stand you'd be using. Was wondering how much the blueprints would be and if I could purchase them. I'm a big fan of the page and look forward to hearing back from you. Have a good night.
Okay, so I think we could have made a decent amount of money just selling the drawings.
I think so.
Yeah, because this has been happening numerous times where I guess when we talk about the tire stand, we don't really make enough of a point that it's free. We talk about the tire stand, we say, hey, email us the drawings, and people assume that we're charging for it.
How much is it?
Right. So when I write them back and say it's free, and I paste everything in there, because we send them the links to the videos to watch on how to build one, and we have a couple videos of guys cutting the material. I have one talking about the different heights to make it for how tall you are or not tall you are. So I would... Unfortunately, people are assuming the worst in society.
Yeah.
And which is probably understandable, right? But it is free, absolutely free. You just email us, so tell your friends, whatever, and you email us, you get it for free. So we got the drawings. We have some pictures of them up here on the screen. Donnie, you still have those on your computer, right? Those drawings?
I'm sure I do.
Right, those are cool.
I rely on you for my drawings.
All right.
Yeah, all right. Oscar. Good afternoon, Jay. I have another question for you. I assume Oscar asked
so
one before?
he must be a regular.
Yeah. I also have a 22 Husky FC350 with the original stock ECU, but the engine feels lethargic and spasmodic. How can it be both of those?
Well, maybe it's like slow and it goes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
That'd be a spaz.
From the bottom to the mid, when you increase the high revolutions, it alters the chassis and makes the bike feel nervous. But I also tested a 23 Husky FC350 a couple of weeks ago with the new engine design. It has a better bottom end feel than with the original stock ECU. The question is, how much can the FC350-22 improve with a Vortec ECU mapped by Twisted? Could it be similar to the new 23 engine design? Or am I definitely selling my bike and buying a 23 or 24 to put the Twisted Vortex ECU on? I don't want much power. I just want smooth, broad power. What do you recommend? 47-year-old veteran pilot, rookie skill, best regards. And I saw your videos on your KTM 350s at Glen Helen, the red bike, number 33, and the orange bike, number 28.
Right on.
Nice.
That's a lot, huh?
But yeah, it's a lot.
Why don't you answer it for him? You know the answer to this one.
Yeah, buy the new bike.
Buy the new bike. That's what Donnie's answer going to be on everything. But in this case,
I'm not a good person to ask about that.
But in this case, it doesn't sound like he's too challenged on the fun side, because he even threw it out there saying, "Hey, do I?" So basically, what this guy's asking is, do I invest more money into my 22 bike, my older generation bike, and put an ECU on it? Or do I just get the new 24 bike, right? Or 23 or 24?
He said 23 or 24, but I'm just saying 24.
The new generation bike.
I'm scratching out 23 and just saying 24.
Get the new generation bike. So I will tell you that our fully built, awesome 22 bikes, let's say, don't even compare to a stock 23, 24. The new bike, the new engine on the 350,
So good.
it got a bigger improvement, I think, than the 250 and 450s did. The 350 from the old generation to the new generation bike is a lot better on the newer platform. Just a really good broad engine, and then if you add an ECU to it, it's just like perfect. So
Where did I see somebody had 60 horsepower out of a 350?
Jamie, he built one that's awesome. It's for sale right now. If anybody's looking for
60 horsepower.
Yeah, legit, fast.
That's crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's got a legit one. So
Yeah.
Jamie at Twisted.
I'm sorry, buy the 24.
All right, there we go.
Yeah. You don't want Donnie answering the questions when it comes to money. Corey, Jay, I'm sure you get a lot of these questions, and I hope you're not sick of them. I'm looking to switch to a Dunlop. I can't choose between the MX-34 and the MX-14 rears for South Florida single track. I mostly ride sandy and soft soil at Croom. You know, Croom's an off-road area down. It's kind of mid-Florida,
Right.
anyway. Do you think one would be better for woods? I'm thinking the MX-14 is too much for tight single track. I also don't see so many top local racers using the MX-14 down here. Can you please help and send tires to a tire stand drawing? Thanks.
Yep. So he knew about the drawings. We sent him drawings, and the answer is MX-14. I mean, and down in those conditions at MX-14, and why don't other people run them? I think it's just a lack of being able to step outside of the box of what other people are doing. So unless you're riding some really harder packed conditions, but if you're riding in those sandy conditions, even with some roots and stuff, I'd be running that 14. It works awesome.
I know that, there's a big difference, but there's a lot of guys in all conditions outdoors will only run the 14.
Right.
In all conditions outdoors.
It-
We know that number 3 does that a lot.
Yeah. So they get used to it.
Get used to it. It's a good bike. Well, I think they're worried about how it turns, like the edge is too hard,
Right.
but
And I think the slower you are, it's even better. So if you're
Yeah.
not a pro, if you're like us, if you're more of a stop and turner, slower guys, it's even better.
we showed up at Glen Helen that day, and Gary Sutherland was like, I need that setup. I want the 14 on it here. I'm like, hey, talk to Jay. Anyway. All right, Landon G. I have noticed that you have a few 354 strokes that have recluse clutches on them. I was wondering if you have any problems with them randomly flaming out when you chop the throttle. If so, have you fixed this, and how?
Okay, so first of all, when he says recluse clutches, we're going to assume he's talking about auto clutch, because that's needs to be clarified. Is that recluse isn't just auto clutches? They make torque drive clutches, which are really nice, get a good grip and feel. So that's what we have, is the torque drive. Now, if you have an auto clutch in there, and they have some new technology, some new pieces for that are awesome. If you have that in there and it's still stalling and you have it all set up correctly, then it's your ECU is giving you problems. So, and that on a stock bike, depending upon your skill level and what type of riding you're doing, first of all, you can try turning the idle up. Okay, so you can need the idle up, but you're probably going to want to do some mapping. And I say this a lot about the mapping, but that's probably what you're going to need to do to solve it.
Well, the idle has to be turned up on those bikes.
Right.
Remember, we put the auto clutch in my bike, the big one.
Oh yeah.
And remember how high the idle had to be turned up on it?
Yeah.
It was crazy.
On the 500, we're
On
going
the
to get some videos of us riding that at Glen Helen.
Oh yeah, we got to do that. So, all right, man.
That's it. All right.
That's
so
it.
We're at time for CD.
Time for CD.
All right, so we're going to talk about Fastways, this cool band.
It's a company too.
Yeah, it's a company too. And they only made like 3 albums. I have 3. They might have made more, but this one is probably my favorite one, is right here. And these are 1983 and 84. And then they did this soundtrack for the Trick or Treat movie. Do you remember that Trick or Treat movie?
Oh yeah, I sure do.
I think Gene Simmons was in it.
Yep.
All right, so, and that's actually pretty fun soundtrack. So
Yeah.
they're all kind of Halloween scary type songs, so they try to have that theme. It's a pretty good little soundtrack. And anyway, this Fastway one's really good. It has All Fired Up, Misunderstood, Steal the Show, Nonstop Love, Hurt Me, Tell Me. Just some really good songs. And Fast Eddie Clark is the star behind this. And so that's why they came up with the name Fastway.
Fast Eddie Clark.
And so that was a big thing. And so anyway, I this good, just clean rock and roll. Just really there's no silly stuff. And again, makes you happy. You don't want to, yeah. I got in trouble for talking about that last week. My wife was not happy.
Oh yeah,
Don't even say it.
No.
Don't say it.
I'm not saying it.
No, don't say it. All right. So
you say that more than me.
all right, so Fastway, that's a good one to check out for those that don't know about the rock or the roll. But that's probably my favorite one from Fastway. Really cool. I think that's it on as far as that goes. So what do we got from you?
I'm going to have Spencer ask this question, right? But I'm going to make him ask it through the mic.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So he wrote a question.
Spencer,
Yeah, can you put me up there?
I'm going to put you on the mic, and then you're going to ask your dad this question. I'm not going to ask it.
Tell him to talk kind of loud. So
Right?
Yeah, I'll say talk real loud.
All right. The question is, do you think I should sell my 2023 KTM 250 SXF and buy the new 2024 KTM 250 SXF with the updated frame, airbox, etc.?
No, 23 and 20. Your 23 and 24 are the same on SXFs. 25 or 24 and a half factory edition gets updated.
Yes, that's what I meant.
Okay, that's what he meant. Okay, so he's asking if you have a 23-24 bike, motocross bike, SXF, and should you update to the 24 and a half, the new factory edition, it's gonna be a 25. They're coming out probably in June, July. We'll probably have the 25s available, right? Because they're trying to blow out these bikes right now.
Oh, yeah.
So these 25s are coming soon. So I don't think the significance is going to be noticeable for most guys. I think the guys that complain about the chassis, I think it's going to be a small difference because the motor's not different. They're not changing the forks. There's still going to be the air fork on the SXF bikes. So if it's still the air fork and it's still the same engine, I wouldn't be eager to sell my bike to go buy the brand new one. So.
And I can't speak for Spencer, but I only noticed an improvement from my 21 to my 24.
Yeah.
I don't know, and everybody keeps seeing, and I heard MC talking about this frame getting stiffer, and everybody's talking about the frame getting stiffer. I didn't feel that.
No. And I think for a lot of us, it's fine. And I think for a lot of people that get caught up in what maybe faster guys are saying or what guys are suffering through for Supercross.
Well, they're looking at Chase, right? Chase is the one saying.
Or fast guys that review bikes. I'm not saying what they're saying is wrong. I'm just saying that most guys aren't going to feel that. And I feel comfortable on the new generation bike. Do I feel as comfortable as the old one? I think it's really close. The engine's so much better that it's hard to tell because I'm so happy on the engine. I don't think it's much.
Well, and that we've got the forks all dialed in.
Right.
The forks being dialed in makes a big difference on how the bike feels.
And then this goes back to if you buy the 25 XCF, you're going to get the spring forks with the new generation chassis. You'll get everything. So if I was looking for a bike and you're in the between off-road and moto, 25 350 XCF. Might be a bike to look at when that comes out this summer. So,
all right, Spencer, so you don't get a new bike.
That's okay.
he's riding red anyway.
All right, man, that's all we got.
What do you got? You got a question?
No question today.
All right.
I left that for Spencer for him to close it out.
Perfect. All right. So I hope you guys enjoy. Like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of cool stuff. Remember to email us the questions. If you have questions during the week, just email us. And we appreciate you guys watching and having a good time. Thanks to Donnie and Spencer. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya.
We work with some great companies, and here's a list of those right now. Dunlop Motorcycle Tires, Wiseco Piston, Vinco Air Shocks and Dirt Bike Parts, FMF Exhaust, Decal Works Graphics, Pro X Racing Parts, Recluse Clutch Revolution, Motion Pro Specialty Motorcycle Tools, Works Connection, Uni Filter, Klotz Oil, Cometic Gasket, MX Plastics, JE Pistons, Cardo Systems, ODI Bars and Grips. And remember, if you shop Rocky Mountain, use our link from our site, Linktree, or link in description of the videos. Thanks for watching and listening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.